Hello, everyone. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to remind you that my book, Drummers on Drumming, is available now on Amazon as both a paperback and an ebook. Based on the Big Fat 5 segment of this podcast, where I sit down with my favorite drummers to discuss the 5 records and stories that shaped their approach to the instrument, this book is packed with insights from the drummers who redefined how we think about the modern drum set. You can grab your copy now by checking the link in this episode's show notes or simply searching Drummers on Drumming on Amazon. So thank you for all the support, and now let's get into the show.
Hey, I'm Mike Robinson, and I'm Ben's guest on Big Fat 5.
What is up? Welcome back to Big Fat 5, a podcast financially supported by Big Fat Snare Drum. My guest this week is my good buddy and even gooder drummer, Mike Robinson. Mike is the quintessential working LA drummer who's played with so many rad artists and bands, most recently with the 2 powerhouses Oliver Tree and k.flay. But let's add Joseph, Blame My Youth, Cannons, he subbed for me and he killed it, Delwater Gap, Morgan, and many more. He also runs the Instagram account @FoodOnTour, which we talk about right off the bat. He's a first call drummer, and I loved this conversation. Please enjoy my chat with Mike Robinson about the 5 records that shaped him into the drummer he is today. All right, cheers. All right, so I'm here with Mike Robinson. Thanks for being on the show, dude.
Thanks for having me. I feel like we've been talking about this for a while.
I know, dude. I feel it's like year 17. You're finally on the show. So, but speaking of shows, you also have your own podcast, your own online presence outside of just you as a drummer, which is called Food on Tour. Let's just lead off with that. Can you talk a little bit about what Food on Tour is? Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, so it's a defunct podcast that you helped me get up and running. I feel like that's when we started talking about doing this, because you were just like, oh, if you ever want to hop on mine, we can kind of merge the two or whatever.
Sure.
But COVID, I had a lot of downtime, and I have since had a child and started working again, so I don't really do the podcast anymore, but I still like to use the Instagram as like a resource for people to send me stuff that they love, while they're on the road, and just like restaurants that are close to venues, walking distance, or stuff that's like worth Ubering, whether it's a bar, restaurant, something weird they found on like Atlas Obscura or something, mostly food oriented, but the occasional bar and weird rest stop. So yeah, I just started doing that because I'm a fucking freak about food when I'm on tour. That's all I do is just eat.
Well, you're a freak about very comfort food. I don't see a lot of super healthy options on there, if I'm being honest.
No. Yeah, there's rarely a salad on there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm really big into like regional fast food, especially, like stuff like Whataburger, or like someone just sent me some like small taco chain in Buffalo today or something, just like weird stuff like that I don't know, just like burgers or whatever that you can't find everywhere. Portillo's is a favorite, Chicago.
That's okay. What's the one in Pittsburgh where they put the fries on the sandwich?
Primanti Brothers. Yeah, not a big Primanti Brothers fan. Or
See,
Primanti,
I'm not either. Okay, and
I
got in a fight with my bandmates about this. To me, and I don't want this to be an anti Primanti Brothers.
I love a food fight, dude.
But I'm just like, dude, if you're gonna put the fries on there, season the fries. They were good fries, but to me, it's just mush on top of it. But the fries themselves aren't good.
There I
said
I don't want to get too far into food here, but I have a very similar feeling to San Diego, like California style burritos, with the French fries inside. Because to me, it's just kind of like taking over the job of the beans, but the beans do it better. Because when I want a French fry, I want like a nice, crispy, salted French fry. You fucking throw it in a burrito, it's gonna get all soggy and mushy, and I'm like, I'd rather just have beans. It's just weird French fries at that point.
Well, see, this is a little preview of what you can get if you listen to Food on Tour or follow you on Instagram. So just fights about beans and fries. But let's just,
pretty much.
Like I was telling you before we logged on, I'm trying to make these shows more succinct and more just like to the point. So you're like, oh, Mike Robinson's top 5. Click on it. You're getting right into it. So let's just hop into your top 5, and then we'll learn about you as we go along. So let's just your first kiss, all that stuff. So number 1 is the album is The Slip. The release here is 2018. The artist is 9 Inch Nails. The song choice is Discipline, and Mr. Josh Freese. It was during his tenure in the band. Yeah. So
my favorite 9 Inch Nails era.
Okay.
Which is, I think, an unpopular opinion, but that era where they had Justin Meldal Johnson on bass and Josh Freese on drums, incredible energy the records sound so much different than the earlier 9 Inch Nails stuff, and live it was just like incredible. Mm-hmm. But Discipline, I mean, you turn it on and like you hear those drums right off the bat and they sound fucking crazy. Like the kick and snare sounds are alone. He could play, just 4 on the floor dance beat the whole time with those sounds and I'd be into it. Mm-hmm. There's something, I was texting with Dan Bailey about this because he's a great engineer, great drummer, and I was just like, what is happening here? And I think he was able to kind of like reverse engineer some of it and gave me a more like succinct answer than I would be able to give. But there's just some crazy engineering happening on that song in particular. The whole record sounds fucking cool, but yeah, I just love that song, man. It's so powerful.
Where were you when you? Yeah, sorry. Let me do that over again. Where were you when you heard it? I'll keep that in. Yeah, who introduced it to you? All that jazz.
This one, I think I was on tour with my old band Empires, like 2012 or something. I was a little bit late on this record, or I'd heard the record, but I never like dove into it. And this was the song that got me to like go back and just like dive into this record really hard. This song, and there's another one on there called 1 Million that it's the same thing. You hear Josh like right off the fucking bat. Like it's first thing you hear is just him just crash, snare, kick, just bashing through it. Yeah, and my friend Tom, he was playing guitar in that band, and he's a massive 9 Inch Nails fan. He showed me the song. Sorry, I have a cold right now, which I told Ben it's not COVID, so I'm a little stuffed up. But yeah, he showed me this song all over the
place, and I feel fine, so it's okay, dude.
He showed me this song, and this quickly became my favorite 9 Inch Nails record.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's listen to Discipline.
All right, let's listen to the beginning, but go give this some time. Skip to the bridge if you can.
Sure. That part, I like it. He comes in early, doesn't he?
There's a couple Trent things in here. Yeah, there's something, I think it's maybe this next line. No, it's the one after this. That, like, such a cool vocal performance, too.
Yeah.
And this bass part, just so heavy.
Dude.
All right, yeah, go to the bridge real quick, because Josh does this, like, he just, the thing I really love about this is, it's the same beat the whole song, and there's like this motion to it. Once he gets to the bridge, he breaks it down, and it's just like the kick pattern or whatever, nothing else. And then he slowly brings in one element at a time, and it's just like such a cool evolution of the drum part. It's just really cool to hear it like that and use as a tool to just keep this song moving.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it as a drummer when you take the snare out and then when you bring it back in, it is just the most powerful fucking thing. How many times have you seen them live?
I've only seen them once live, but there are these live like rehearsal videos from this era of the band from the Slip tour. And I think they do like 5 songs maybe. This is one of them. They do 1 Million. They do the song Echoplex. And those videos, they're on YouTube. It's like a 20-minute thing. Fucking incredible. I watch them probably once a month. My wife will like see me like get into the... It's usually when I'm like bored with music or like I'm feeling kind of like, oh, like nothing's cool anymore. And then I'll fucking go back to these videos and my wife's like, oh God, you're in a fucking mood, you know?
But fine, leave me alone.
Dude, these things, I mean, I swear I find so much inspiration in the live videos from this like rehearsal thing they did. It's just whenever I'm like just kind of feeling like bleak about things, it's like I go straight to these.
And you,
it's
with
really
your band, Blame My Youth, you were able to play with The Offspring, which I believe Josh was playing with. Can you talk a little bit about, you met him, right?
Briefly, yeah. We did like 3 shows with them. Unreal band, man. Like just seeing them, I grew up loving that band, you know.
Absolutely.
So like playing with them was a fucking dream come true, let alone having Josh Freese on drums, who was, you know, very much up there for me in terms of drummers. So getting to watch him play these songs that I grew up loving, and we got to hang out with them, you know, like Noodles, the guitar player, is fucking awesome. And he was just like very cool. He was kind of the most social of the bunch, you know. We played a cover of Skulls by the Misfits, and he would come watch every night, and I was just like, man, just got to get Noodles on this, you know.
Did you ever ask him?
Play guitar on it? Yeah, dude, this was like one of my fucking like regret this, but after the first day he watched, and I was like, yo, if you want to play, like grab Sean's guitar, like he's hardly even playing it on this song, you know. And he was like, oh, that'd be really fun. And that was it. And then that night he came up on stage, like side stage while we were playing, and I was like, fuck, we didn't talk about it. Like, do I like wave him all? Like, what do I do right now? You know, but I can't like bring him on a whim or like wing it or whatever. But I wish we would have been more like clear about that and like kind of figured something out. But yeah, they were super cool, and Josh was really, really kind. And, you know, it's just kind of like meeting your heroes, and they're like way fucking cooler than you could ever imagine. Just sends them through the roof for you, you know.
I would just love to see Josh live and just like watch that left hand, how consistent it is. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone that's that consistent.
Dude, you know what? Something I didn't really like realize I loved so much about his playing is his right hand. On some of these songs, man, like that right hand is just fucking controlling the whole thing. Like the whole vibe is coming from that right hand. It's really cool. There's some songs where he's just playing like so stiff, and he'll, you know, kind of back off on some notes, like, you know, if he's playing backbeats or whatever, he'll like kind of do the Mick Fleetwood thing where he's lifting off, and sometimes he'll just be playing kind of like a punk beat and just change up his right hand pattern just a little bit. You know, if he's playing like really quick eighth notes, every now and then he'll just switch to quarter notes and then go back to eighths, and it's like just gives it this kind of breath and this space that I was not aware was ever really happening, you know, when I'm hearing live recordings or seeing live videos or whatever. But like being that close and seeing it was really fucking cool.
Yeah, I would say I'm not going to say who I think should be the new Foo Fighters drummer, but when I was watching that concert a few weeks ago, I would say when you close your eyes, when Josh was behind the kit, it was like they were playing to a backing track. He is a record live. It's insane.
He's unreal, dude. He's unreal. Yeah. And it feels weird, like, you know, having played the same shows with him and stuff. I feel like even more of a dork for how much I'm like obsessed with his drumming. But, you know, I definitely find some nostalgia in you know, these older records and older drummers that I grew up listening to, but I find so much more inspiration from modern drummers like Josh, you know.
Just well, speaking of super modern drummers,
being able to walk on stage and see that, you know. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, speaking of super modern drummers, number 2 is Ringo Starr. No, the album is it was a single. I believe it was a B-side to Paperback Writer.
It was, yeah.
And the album is, or the release year is 1966. The artist is the Beatles, of course. The song is Rain, and the drummer's Ringo. So
this is my favorite drum performance of all time, I think.
Really?
And I didn't want to, you know, when you sent me like the form to like put in the 5 songs, I didn't want to like lead off with the Beatles because I was like, oh, that's a dorky thing to do, but I mean, it's just undeniable, man. And so much of this kind, maybe not this song in particular, but this kind of playing has like seeped into my playing that I always refer to as meathead drumming. Just like, you know, really big round kind of motions, you know, big round fills just straight around the kit that just fucking feel good and like make you want to, you know, this song doesn't make me want to punch a wall, but there are plenty of songs where it's just like super simple, you know, like 8th note, 16th note fills around the kit or something that when you get to the end and they fucking crash on one, I just want to like punch through my car window, you know?
Sure.
And this song I think is like the earliest memory I have of like just hearing these super simple fills orchestrated in such a cool, meaningful, impactful way, you know?
Yeah.
And I realized while we were kind of like discussing songs previously that I had never like looked into, I was like, oh fuck, what if like Paul played on this song or something, you know?
Yeah.
So I Googled it, and apparently this is Ringo's favorite drum performance as well of himself.
It's one of his busiest too.
It's so busy.
Yeah.
And it's like some stuff's kind of hanging over the bar, and like it's just really, really cool.
Yeah, that it's like the second fill when he's going between the snare and the hi-hat, the dicka-da-dicka-da-da, like the groupings of 3. It's a very almost like unlike Ringo performance, which I can see you can be like, is this fucking Ringo?
Yeah, I was just like, I would hate to get on a podcast and be like, this is my favorite drum performance ever, and it's Ringo, and it's fucking Paul. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe Ringo got duped here.
Well, I mean, or maybe it's Bernard Purdy and everyone just thinks the same. But, well, I'll one-up you. So when Mark Juliana, and I think whoever's listening, I edited this part out, but when Mark Juliana was on the show, I played a few tracks from his career to kind of talk about, hey, to tell a story about this, and I played a song that wasn't his. So we can all do it. It was his wife. It was a song from his wife, and he played with her, and I assumed it was just a weird timeline of things I messed up. But he was like, no, that's a great drum performance.
Close enough.
Not me.
Who was it? Who was playing drums?
I don't remember. Some jazz cat in New York, you know, some amazing guy that I should know. But
yeah.
Anyways, so let's listen to Ringo and Rain. And yeah, this is like Fairchild, super, you know, limited drums. And so it sounds good as well.
And this was Revolver era, just to give anyone reference.
Yep.
Sonically Revolver.
All right, here we go. I'm going to give it a little bit more juice this time.
Yeah, juice it up, boy. Oh, I mean, that Phil. And also, favorite Paul McCartney performance for sure, too. Bass playing is incredible.
Yeah, it's a great bass line. That Phil right there.
Love that. This dude. That's like prime example of meathead drumming to me.
Sure.
So cool. And dude, this part, the bass, so cool.
He's very aware of the downbeat because he'll do these fills, but then he almost pauses to get to the downbeat. Yeah. He wants to make sure he's not rushing. Double.
Yeah, stuff like that just makes this feel like it's gotta be Ringo, you know? This feels so uninhibited.
Oh, absolutely.
My dad had like there was a compilation called Past Masters that was like a Beatles, I think like a lot of B-sides and stuff. And he had that on cassette, and that was where I first heard it. He showed me this, and he used to have this like Mazda, like 80s like Mazda sports car, like an RX-7, I think is what it was. And in the summers, we would like drive around and, you know, just blast his cassette collection with the sunroof open, just drive around Akron where I grew up. And this song was I was always like, Dad, put on Rain, put on Rain, put on Rain. This was I think there's a lot of nostalgia attached to this song, but drumming is just incredible. And the song's amazing. There was something about this too, you know, sort of in that like uninhibited thing that we were just talking about, like just like all these fills that are just so random and kind of bastardized sometimes. I just feel like that's got to be Ringo. You know, like that's like I feel like this is the purest form of Ringo that we're getting, and I'm just such a big Ringo fan. You know, I think we're just hearing pure instinct from him on this track.
I think it's.
I
gone
could be
full
romanticizing
circle.
this. I have no idea.
No, but I think it's become cool again. And I hope it's not cyclical to where to go back the other way. But it's cool to say, yeah, Ringo's one of the best. It's cool to say Lars is one of the best. When like maybe 10 years ago, it wasn't cool to say that. And I don't care if it's cool or not because I love Lars and I love Ringo. But I think they're finally getting their appreciation universally.
Totally. I think that's kind of a thing in music just overall that I struggled with for a long time. And now I'm just like fully embracing all these things that I love that I was always kind of like, you know, maybe they're guilty pleasures or I was a little embarrassed. You know, like I grew up loving emo music. And in like 2012, whatever, 2012 to like 2016 or whatever, like that wasn't very cool to listen to. But now people are loving it again. And I'm kind of revisiting these records again, like that band Say Anything. I've been listening to them a lot lately.
Oh yeah.
I used to love them. They have that record Is a Real Boy.
Is a Real Boy, yep.
Drumming on that record's incredible. The songs are fucking cool. You know, I'm just like, man, I don't know why I ever like denied myself of like admitting that I love this shit, you know? And I think the same thing kind of goes for Lars. Yeah, seems like an asshole. I don't know. I have no idea. Never met the guy, but it seems like a weirdo. But you can't deny like fucking Sad But True. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Or Fuel is one of my favorite drum parts to play along to, period.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people just, you know, went through the too cool phase, myself included. And, you know, I recently, I think, started embracing this sort of meathead side of my drumming. Yeah. You know, because of people like Ringo or Lars that I really love. And that's what I feel most comfortable and feel best doing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I shied away from emo for a while and like I can't think of specific bands and I don't want to name any specific bands, but like that era where it became super polished and super just produced, like Say Anything is the opposite of that. It's very real, very loose. But sometimes I'll want to listen to the most produced pop punk record from 2010.
Yep.
And I want to hear a perfect palm mute over a perfectly played drum part, and so that just makes me happy that day. Also, so fuck it.
There was so many of those records, and you know, we're going off on an emo tangent here, but so many of those records, like, you know, no one was trying to fucking get on the radio, so they were like, yeah, like fucking play the shit out of these songs, play whatever you want, you know, like there was so much creativity, especially in the drumming on those records. Like Circa Survive is another band that I used to really, really love when I was younger. And revisiting those records, there's one Circa Survive, Phil, on that record, Juturna. I think it came out in like 2006 or something like that. I rip it off all the time on like pop gigs. And people are like, oh, what's that, Phil? It's like this weird kind of like triplet-y
Do you know where it is?
thing.
What song? Where it is?
In Fear and Faith is the song, and it's around like, if you start at like 305.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start about 250, and then I'll fade it in.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
I'll throw some toms in there, you know, like I'll just kind of change it up a little bit. The amount of, I don't know, it's kind of jarring, I guess, in like a pop context.
Yeah.
Especially, I feel like I always end up using it like when there's no drums and, you know, you're coming back into like a big last chorus or whatever like that. I'll like enter with that fill.
Sure.
And I'm just, I don't know. I'm just like, well, if only Circa Survive knew that I was ripping this shit off on like pop
Dude, I
gigs.
rip off everything. I mean,
I love ripping shit off.
Yeah, that's all I do. I don't think I've had one original idea since 2003. So, all right, here is, I like how it went from Ringo to emo. That's a very easy transition.
You know what? This is how my brain works, I think.
Well, you know what? The song Rain is Let the Rain Fall Down. It's the most emo song of all time. So
it's pretty emo.
Yeah. All right, so number 3, the album is New Sacred Cow. The release year is 2003. The artist is Kenna. The song choice is Sunday After You. and there's no drummer, but it was programmed / produced by Chad Hugo. So
I'm pretty sure Chad Hugo produced this track. He did most of the record. I'm assuming he did this. I'm assuming the drums are his brainchild. The drum programming on this record is just fucking incredible. And Aaron Sterling played drums for Kenna live for a while, like way back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I remember watching, like trying to find live videos on YouTube of this song. I think it was this song, maybe another one on this record, but before I even knew who Aaron was, I found these videos. I was like, who the fuck is this drummer? Why is he like sitting so high? Just like, why? It sounds so good. Like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, this is a really cool one. There's a lot of Mike Robinson teenage context in this one.
Okay, let's just play it and then we'll talk about teenage Mikey.
This is another one that play a bit of the verse and then go to the bridge, because total game changer in the bridge.
There's a little hi-hat accent that makes it cool too.
Yeah, there's some like cool sounds that just come in for a second on this that are really cool. Yeah, weird hi-hat sounds that you don't hear till the end of a fill or something,
Yeah.
And it's very Clyde, Stubblefield, it feels like a James Brown groove. Yep. It could be a sample, I have no idea.
Kind of got a Nine Inch Nails vibe to it.
Yeah.
All right, let me hop to the bridge here.
Yeah, this fucking beat is so sick.
Yeah, Aaron Sterling would kill this.
Yeah, right? Let this whole section play if you don't mind.
Don't mind at all.
So cool.
Yeah. That's sick, dude.
There's like nothing that compare in terms of programming or whatever the fuck is going on there. I'm just like, this this record is incredible.
Who turned you on to this?
So this record came out in 2003. I was 15 at the time, and I was playing in like shitty pop punk bands in high school or whatever. And we used to play this bowling alley in Akron. That I didn't know him at the time, but he became a really good friend of mine. This guy Eric Nagel. He was like 18 or 19, and he would organize these shows and get local bands, and his band would always headline the show or whatever. He had this band called Farewell that was like, pop punk royalty in Akron.
It's a great name for a pop punk band.
Yeah. So, like being in that scene as a kid, we all kind of like looked up to Farewell because they were all really great musicians too, like really great players. And Eric saw me play because he invited my band to play a show, and he came up to me after the show and he was like, "Oh, I really like the way you're playing. Like, want to start this new project? Would you want to try and play drums? Like, we can jam or whatever." So we started kind of like meeting up and playing, and then he was like, "All right, if you want to be in this band, you need to learn this whole record verbatim, New Sacred Cow." And I was like, okay, well, this is the fucking weirdest thing ever. So
How much does it pay? Learning this record,
right? I was just like, so I fucking did it. I was like, yeah, I want to play drums in this band. So I think I learned the whole record. I certainly did not learn it verbatim, but so he came over to my fucking parents' house, and my drum set at my parents' house. My parents were very cool, still are very cool. They let me set up my drum set in the living room. I had free reign whenever I wanted,
Whoa.
They had this like 6 stereo system that I would just blast records through and play along to. I wouldn't even put headphones on. I would just like crank it.
Shout out to the Robinsons,
came over. Yeah, dude. Eric came over. He sat on my fucking parents' couch, and I blasted through New Sacred Cow in front of him. However many songs, 10, 12, 13 songs, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And Eric is also after I did this, we started a band called Baby Bear. And he was like, all right, if we're going to play shows, like, you have to play to a click. And I was like, what the fuck? So I got the Vic Firth isolation headphones and a fucking Dr. Beat. And I was like playing pop punk shows to a click when I was like 15.
Wow.
I think Eric probably caused me some traumatic experiences that, anxiety. I don't know. He's still a good friend of mine. I love Eric, but yeah.
I mean, Gunnar Olsen plays with those huge cans. I think they're the VKs,
the GK Ultra phones, yeah.
Yeah. So I think
I use those in my studio.
He looks cool live, so yeah.
Well, 16-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid playing pop punk shows in a shitty dive bar isn't as cool as Gunnar Olsen. But yeah, Eric really was a very big part of like me learning to listen to details in records that has become like an invaluable tool for me as a professional drummer, like picking up random gigs here and there, like learning shit on the fly. Eric like really got my ear going at a pretty young age for some weird shit like this.
Well, that leads me to a question. So you literally today, I think, got back from a stint with Oliver Tree, and you had to learn 17, I'm assuming, or 17 plus songs in like 5 days. It was a last minute call. And how do you differentiate between, like you were just saying, the details when you're listening to a track? Is it just the you talk with the MD, or you just wait, you just learn the song and hoping that when he gets there, he's like, you don't have to be that precise. Like, how do you differentiate?
I guess it's sort of different every gig, right? Like this one in particular, this guy, Amir Uzman, incredible drummer, like way better drummer than I am, has been playing with Oliver for a very long time. And Amir is kind of like stepping back for a minute. He is taking a break from the Oliver stuff. And he called me and sent me lots and lots of resources to learn this stuff as quickly as I could. So I was getting front of house mixes. He took time in their production rehearsals to, do like overhead video so I could see everything he was doing on SPD. So I was just learning the set kind of, word for word what he was doing on the show. And he kind of, again, he's an incredible drummer, so he gave me the easy route on some of these videos, but I think for me the biggest thing is just listening to the songs, just knowing, you don't want to be on stage and ever be unsure of what's about to happen in the song.
Yeah.
As far as like, I guess with the exception of like anyone sort of improvising or whatever, which usually isn't going to happen on this sort of gig. But I just never want to be like, oh fuck, is it a chorus next? Is there a break? Am I in on the top of this verse? Am I out? I never want to do that. So I just listen so fucking much, man. I don't chart anything out anymore. I just listen like crazy. I'm sure my wife wants to murder me, but I'm just like listening when I'm driving, I'm listening in the shower, I'm listening when I'm cooking dinner, I'm just listening non-fucking stop. And the Oliver thing, I was on tour with Blame My Youth when I got that call. So I didn't even have time to go home and play the songs. I had like a day at home. I have a kid, so I was like, I'm not going to spend the whole day. I've been on tour for 2.5 weeks already. I'm not going to spend the whole day at home, learning these songs. I got to spend time with my kids. So I was like, pressure was really on, just in terms of listening, knowing the songs. So between like my incessant neurotic listening and all of the help I got from Amir, on this one, it made it pretty easy. And you did the same thing for me when I filled in for you with Cannons. It was like you sent me great footage of a show that I could just go back and, I listened to the record. You sent me the set list. I listened to the records like a million fucking times. And then I would start watching the set you sent me and just memorize your movements to the best of my ability.
Well, I do want to take the opportunity to say you killed it. So yeah,
Thanks, dude.
I had to go on another gig. You subbed for like 5-6 shows. You actually played some of the biggest shows of the band, and I couldn't make, and you killed it. So thanks again.
Thanks, dude.
All right, number 4. The album is Clumsy. The release year is 1997. The artist is Our Lady Peace. The song choice is Superman's Dead, and the drummer is Jeremy Taggart. So take it away.
Oh man, I don't know. The relationship between his right and left hand are just, in terms of like being on hi-hat and snare is just, he's got this fucking thing, man. He's just got such a cool vibe between his right and left hand. And I think that some might listen to this song and say that it's really busy. I wouldn't say they're wrong, but I think it's incredibly musical.
Okay.
His relationship with what he's playing on drums to vocals is like, he's really, really listening, I think, to what the singer of this band is doing at all times. And if someone played these songs way more straight ahead, songs wouldn't be nearly as fucking cool. Just wouldn't. I probably wouldn't even be interested, honestly. Jeremy makes this band for me.
This is actually the opening track. So this is the statement for the record. So let's just play it, and then we can keep talking
Listen to
about
when the first bass drum hit comes in on this song. That's another fucking badass thing about Jeremy.
Okay.
Do you worry that you're not liked? How long till you break? You're happy cause you smile.
Nice.
But how much
So cool.
can you fake? An ordinary boy, an ordinary name.
He does that left hand snare thing, those 2/16 notes, like does that so often.
That always reminds me of, I think it's Nookie by Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
He just goes da-da like one time in that intro.
I'm thinking why, yeah, Superman's dead, yeah.
Those flams, dude. Fucking badass. Another thing I rip off a lot.
Dap boom.
Yeah, all the time.
Which is a very John Bonham thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, Our Lady Peace is one of those bands that, I like that song a lot. I don't know much, and we were talking before we hopped on, I don't know much about them. I know the one song, Somewhere Out There, but that's...
Yeah.
This sounds nothing like that.
Yeah, so that song is on Gravity, I think, the one you just mentioned. They have their first record ever is called Naveed. It came out in 1994. And after that, they put out Clumsy, which is this song is on. The next record is called Happiness Is Not a Fish. And the next record is called Spiritual Machines. Those 3 records, Clumsy, Happiness, and Spiritual Machines, amazing. Jeremy's got so many great drum performances. And Gravity came out right after Spiritual Machines.
Okay.
Which is when they kind of went like, more like pop radio. But these dudes were just like, they were all over alternative radio when I was a kid. I feel like they were in the soundtrack for something like Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer, some shit like that.
Badge of honor right there.
Yeah, I think my sister got this record. She's a few years older than me, and she got some stuff. I don't think she liked this record, and I took it. And I just became like obsessed with this record. And Jeremy's just such a, it's him right away. No one plays like that busy and so musical at the same time. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe some people would be like, no, you're crazy. Like, it's just busy drumming, but I just find it so musical.
I don't think that's. I guess I'm with you. I don't think that sounded busy. I thought it was still. Didn't
He's
get in
doing
the way.
so much though. Like I'm imagining like walking into a fucking gig and playing like that. Like people would be like, "Shut the fuck up, Mike." But like he's just crushing. And you know, again, I just like try and imagine these songs with someone else playing drums. And now Jeremy's not in the band anymore. But you know, I just don't think these songs would work with another drummer. I just don't think they would work.
I mean, that's what every drummer hopes that someone says about their band. You know,
Yeah,
that's like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the apex
Right.
of either
Totally.
people that don't play drums, air drum to your drum parts in the car on the steering wheel, or someone says that the band would be the same without you. If I get
Yeah.
those two, I can clock off.
His playing, just all of his choices are just so specific.
Yeah. I was going to say the only thing I inherited from my sister music-wise was, I believe, a Chumbawamba cassette.
Chumbawamba's a pretty, I don't know if you got into them ever. They're a pretty fucking deep band. They're like tied in, they're in like the crass scene. They're like very politically active. And I think Tub Thumpin' was like a fluke. You know, I think it was like kind of a joke because the rest of that record is like pretty weird.
Yeah.
They're an interesting band. It's funny now we're talking about Chumbawamba on here, but yeah,
I think that was as big of a jump from Ringo to emo as Our Lady Peace to Chumbawamba.
yeah, Ringo to Circa Survive. Yeah, I think I got some cool records out of stuff my sister didn't really get into that she bought. Like Oasis they're one of my favorite bands of all time. And she got Morning Glory, and I don't think she was really into it. You know, she liked Wonderwall.
Who gets
and
Morning Glory and goes, not my thing? I guess
well,
your
she was
sister,
like,
but-
you know, she wanted to listen to NSYNC or whatever. But
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, this
I
is
get
cool.
that.
I'll take this one. But yeah, my sister had some pretty funny music taste growing up. There was a lot of boy band stuff, so I was like, you know, I would take the Bush records or whatever that were lying around.
Dude, the self-titled NSYNC record, I don't know if it's self-titled, but it was the one with all the the first one with the hits on it, the Blue
the
Flame.
white one or whatever. Yeah.
Yep, that was my third record. It was Marilyn Manson, the one where he has like the onesie suit on, Americana by The Offspring, and then Blue Flame NSYNC.
Dude.
And that's who I am today.
Americana note. I remember for Christmas one year, my parents bought me a pair of Jeankos, a Bad Religion CD, and Americana by The Offspring.
By the way, are those Jinkos you're wearing on stage with Oliver Tree, or are those just
So they're like
custom?
I guess I don't know. I think they're custom, but they're like Oliver Tree branded jeans. Like there's a big Oliver Tree tag on the back, you know, at the bottom of the pocket that goes down to your fucking ankle or whatever.
Yeah.
And same with the jacket. It's like all Oliver Tree branded shit.
I was gonna ask too. So Ari, is that the drummer you said?
Amir.
Did Amir tell you that you were gonna have to take your shirt off mid-show, or is that?
No, so
something
that was
added?
actually that was a recent development.
Okay.
Me and Casey, the keyboard player, and he plays guitar as well. I think it was in Montreal. It was like really fucking hot, and Casey kept joking about how he was going to take his. I think the AC was broken or something in there. He was like, "Oh, I'm just going to take my jacket off," and we don't wear anything under the jackets because it's like a fucking ski jacket, you know.
Yeah,
So-
I can't imagine how you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just joking about that before the show. Then we get on stage. Oliver like takes his jacket and his Jeankos off, and he's got this other outfit underneath it. You know, this happens every night. And I look over, and Casey's unzipping, and I was just like, "All right, fuck it, I'll do it too." So we did that, and then last night at Life is Beautiful, we were just like, "Should we go shirtless again?" And we did it. It's pretty fun, you know. Get the dad bod out.
Very liberating. Yes.
I've never played a show shirtless in my life.
Does it feel good?
It felt great, you know, but I mean, it's way less tough than I thought it would be being in like Jeankos and a bowl cut wig, wearing like red children's sunglasses.
Well, people can go check out the video of that on your Instagram, which is just Mike Robinson. It'll be linked in the show notes. But all right, number 5, last one, is the album Zeppelin 2. The release year is 1969. The artist is Led Zeppelin, and the song choice is Bring It On Home. And Bonzo's the drummer. So yeah. Why'd you choose this guy?
I think I was having some sort of internal battle, being like, you can't pick Ringo and Bonham. Like, that's so cheesy. But
Hell yeah, you can.
I felt a little better about this one because it's kind of a deep cut, which is, you know, I'm like, at this point, at this era of Zeppelin, I'm just like, what even is a Zeppelin song? They're all just fucking blues songs, pretty much, you know. This is a Sonny Boy Williamson song that I guess they quote unquote adapted, whatever that means.
Yeah,
but
they're good at that.
Yeah, they are. This song was another one that my dad and I would listen to a lot in his little Mazda sports car, and I think it was the first time I really like started considering orchestration on a drum kit, because there's this like wood block thing or something that's happening on I think it's the right side. You can just kind of hear this pattern going on the whole time through the verses. You know, it's like this syncopated pattern, and then in the choruses or in that like riff section, like the main riff, it goes to quarter notes, and you know, maybe they'll change it up every now and then. But I remember noticing that and being like, oh, like, can I play that and the beat at the same time? You know, like, can I play the whole thing?
Yeah.
And I'm sure I did a terrible job at it as like 10-year-old Mike or whatever it was. But yeah, I remember that really, really standing out to me. Like, I listened to the song so many times and then finally realized there was this thing happening, you know, on one side that I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I just started thinking about like, can I do all of this? You know, which sort of goes back to that tool of like listening, you know, that I was talking about with that Kenna song, is like, I didn't realize how important that would be now, you know. That's same sort of mindset, like especially in pop music now or something, with all the electronics that we as drummers have to learn to integrate into the set. You're like, okay, how can I do all of this at once? How can I fucking play a solid, great feeling groove and also get all these intricate little like nuances that make the song, you know, special to the artist, whoever it is. This is a very simple version of that, I think, you know.
Well, if you ever figure out how to actually do that, let me know, because I still haven't figured it out.
I'll never fucking know, dude.
Yeah, exactly. My God. All right, well, here's Bring It On Home.
Nice long bluesy intro. I don't know, it's like a minute or something until drums even come in.
Drummers need to listen to no drums every once in a while, okay?
I love no drums.
I'll bring up Secondhand Serenade then. We'll pivot to that. Is that Robert on harmonica?
I don't know who's doing what, but Robert Plant's, he sounds fucking crazy on this.
He's like phonetically trying to mimic the harmonica and like his delivery.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Got my ticker, got that load. John up, going higher, all aboard.
I mean, I could listen to this
This is
for
sick.
hours. Yeah.
I'ma take my seat right way back. Ooh, yeah, watch this train go down the track.
Almost sounds like it's like a lisp.
Like, is that him? I don't know. It's like, was it Paul? Did Paul play Raid? I don't know.
Is this Paul McCartney singing right now? He's not conservative with those scratch cymbals.
No. I think the wood block thing I was talking about. Or is it a cowbell? You can't even hear it well enough.
Well, at least you can feel better that it sounds like it's an overdub.
Yeah, totally.
So at least
I mean,
you
it
can't. You don't
definitely is,
have
but
to,
I was like, you know, I would play along to these records all the time, and I was like,
sure.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it all.
Absolutely.
It straightens out there.
Yep.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, I hear a little tone to it, so I assume it's a cowbell, and also with like, you know, Led Zeppelin, the record, he uses cowbell, so
Yeah.
He's basically mimicking the riff. He's kind of going along with the riff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that too.
We've got.
Yeah, so cool. John Bonham was a meathead, dude. Biggest meathead there was.
He was the original meathead.
Yeah, for sure. Like that, boom, boom. I love that shit, dude. That's so powerful. There was so much of my like early childhood in drumming that, you know, like I think that song "Good Times Bad Times" probably taught me how to play like double strokes on bass drum, you know.
Absolutely.
Like with my right foot, like I would just sit there for hours and try and fucking figure that out. Probably had the worst bass drum pedal of all time and was doing it in the worst way possible, but I would just sit there and try and fucking do this shit. I think there's a lot of things that like I feel cheesy sort of loving, you know, like, oh, you're a drummer, of course you love John Bonham, but I don't like, I just have so many early memories of learning music and it being just Zeppelin songs. I think just because of what my parents were listening to, you know. And the drums, obviously, I think to anyone, musician or not, stand out. So it's just like, you know, embrace what you love. I love nerding out over drummers, but I think for me the biggest thing is the song. I love songs so much more than I love drums.
Yep.
And this song is just fucking great. It just and you know that space in the beginning where they're doing the kind of like the blues version, I would assume is probably more similar to the original version of the song, and then they go into their Zeppelin-esque thing.
Yeah.
That space just makes it all hit so hard. I remember being a kid, like I could not wait until drums would come in, and I'd sit there just like waiting, you know, like wanting to fast forward on the cassette player or whatever, and like just like trying to chill myself out, just be like, wait, it's gonna be even better, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love songs so much more than I love drumming.
I know. That's why I don't want to say it's hard for this podcast to always geek out in the drum. Like when I reach out to people and they're like, I mean, I won't call some people out, but they've kind of like been averse to getting on the show because they're like, I'm not a drummer's drummer. And I'm like, dude, I don't need you to be a drummer's drummer. I would rather talk about the song. I'd rather talk about how you incorporate what you do into the overall mix. I don't need to talk about stickings or blah, blah, blah. Because that's not what that's not what bobs my head, you know?
Yeah, totally. I want something to make me want to punch through a wall. Someone doing I love watching, you know, the crazy over the top, like wild ass drumming. I love watching that stuff on YouTube. You know, I'll fucking nerd out on Instagram for way too long watching that shit. But my favorite thing ever, I could not do without songs that just make me want to punch through a fucking wall. And sorry, you know, your double paradiddles aren't doing that for me.
But a double paradiddle. Now that, well, that's your top 5, man. So I do want to allow you to. Are you still doing remote recordings for people? I know you. We're going to be on tour. You're going to be home for, you know, the immediate future. If people want to reach out to you, I know mostly drummers listen to this, so I'm not necessarily thinking that a lot of them are going to reach out to get you record drums on their stuff. But if people do want to reach out to you and all that jazz, where can they find you? And then I'll let you have a nice Saturday evening with your family.
Yeah, well, my kid's in bed, so I'm just going to go probably watch Love Island or something.
You're probably going to go watch that 9 Inch Nails rehearsal video.
Probably my wife's going to be like, oh, fuck off. Yeah, I'm still doing remote stuff. You know, I think the majority of my work is in the live realm. You know, I'm not doing a ton of remote recording here, but I have a little space here. It sounds pretty cool. I don't know. I feel like I just stay in contact with everyone in the music world for the most part, aside from really close friends, just on Instagram, you know, just Mike Robinson on Instagram. And then I know Blame My Youth is going to be touring at the top of next year. So, come see a show. Hopefully, maybe I'll do some more shows with Oliver.
Yeah.
K.flay, unfortunately, just had to cancel a whole mess of shows. Sending lots of love to her, but she's having some health issues right now that aren't great. So yeah, I'll be home for a while. It'd be kind of nice.
Wally will like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's into it. He likes it. Took him to Disneyland the other day. Fucking lost his mind. And I played him. I've actually been playing him a lot of Led Zeppelin this week because of us talking about this stuff and seeing him react to it. I'm just like, yeah, this shit is like, it's like primal,
Oh yeah. No, they're a good barometer of like a good groove.
Totally. Same. He also lost his fucking mind to Our Lady Peace.
Really? Well, there you go. He is your son.
My wife hates Our Lady Peace, so she was pissed. But
what is her favorite band? Put her on blast.
Oh God, I don't even know what her favorite band is.
See,
she doesn't,
you can't be a hater if you don't know yourself.
My wife and I will go down some emo rabbit holes for sure.
Okay.
She grew up in that scene. Like we go down those rabbit holes pretty deep sometimes. Just like going through like weird ass, like, I don't know, Taking Back Sunday demos or something.
Yeah, Receiving End of Sirens or something.
Yeah, wow, those dudes. Yeah, she does not like she hates Our Lady Peace so much that it made it into our wedding vows that she will listen to Our Lady Peace for me.
All right, dude. Well, I'll let you go, man. But I'll talk to you later.
Thanks so much for having me, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And that's the show. If you're listening on a platform that allows ratings and reviews, do that. It helps more people find the show, so it'll get bigger and better, and hopefully I'll have a chance to sell out one day. But you'll be an OG listener that can brag to all your friends. Anyways, why don't you go and check us out at bigfatsnaredrum.com and follow us on all the socials. Just search for Big Fat Snare Drum and you will find us. The show is edited in part using Isotope RX Audio Editor. It's amazing, so go check that out at isotope.com. And thanks again to Gunnar Olsen for the theme music. Bye. Say, hey, this is Mike Robinson, and I'm Ben's guest on Big Fat 5. That's all it is, and then I'll just take that and put that at the beginning. So whenever you're ready, I'll even look away.
Cool.
I'll look over here.
Hey, I'm Mike Robinson, and I'm Ben's guest on Big Fat 5.
Dude, are you kidding
me? That?
You're my new co-host. But
dude, I think the Oliver gig has gotten me a little more comfortable with doing shit on the spot. Dude, last night I had to chase a child off the stage.
What? How does that work?
Like a 6-year-old. There's this kid who's on Instagram. I think his name is Mini Oliver, and he's got like the real haircut, like a real bowl cut, and he's got the full outfit, and Oliver invites him to, he's like a massive Oliver fan, and Oliver will invite him to shows whenever he's like coming out or whatever, and he lets him sort of introduce him. So he'll walk out on stage and be like, I'm the real Oliver Tree. That guy over there sucks. You're all here to see me, whatever. And so last night, Oliver had me like chase him off the stage. So he like went out on stage, like we had a sick slot at Life is Beautiful. It was like 9:15 p.m. or something. This kid walked out on stage in front of however many fucking people, did not even hesitate, and then let some strange 34-year-old man chase him off the stage.